The pasta sitting in your pantry right now might be feeding the wrong bacteria. Not the kind that helps you, the kind that drives bloating, brain fog, and the chronic inflammation that doctors keep misdiagnosing as something else entirely. I cross-referenced Environmental Working Group lab tests, FDA enforcement records, and peer-reviewed microbiome research on the 9 most popular pasta brands in America. 6 of them failed, 3 passed. The brand that failed worst is currently sitting in 35% of American kitchens. Let's start there. Here's what pasta is supposed to be. Durum wheat semolina, dried slowly under 50 degrees Celsius. 2 ingredients, semolina and water. Industrial manufacturers replace that with high-speed drying above 80 degrees, destroying B vitamins, and stripped out the bran and germ, the parts your gut bacteria run on. Then they added back synthetic nutrients, stamped enriched on the label, and called it nutritious. What enrichment never restores is dietary fiber. Without fiber, your gut bacteria have nothing to ferment. Research in nutrients. 2024 confirmed that low-fiber diets dramatically reduce lactobacillus and bifidobacterium while driving up proteobacteria, a phylum linked to systemic inflammation and leaky gut. That is the environment most pasta brands are creating every time you eat them. Start with the most recognizable one, Barilla, the blue box. It controls 35% of the U.S. pasta market, and in May 2024, a federal judge certified a class action lawsuit, Sinatro versus Barilla America, alleging the company misled consumers by labeling its pasta Italy's #1 brand while making it in New York and Iowa. That is the trust issue. Here is the gut issue. The Environmental Working Group found detectable glyphosate residues in Barilla products, and a University of Turku study found 54% of human gut bacterial species are sensitive to even small concentrations of it. The herbicide disrupts a pathway present in gut bacteria that does not exist in human cells, which is exactly why it is dangerous for your microbiome. The next brand has been here since 1896 and carries every flaw Barilla has, plus one the label hides. Ronzoni, over 125 years on American shelves, that legacy is carrying a product that has fundamentally changed. The enrichment process strips natural folate and adds synthetic folic acid. The problem: between 40 and 60% of the American population carries an MTHFR gene variant that impairs the ability to convert synthetic folic acid into a usable form. Unmetabolized folic acid in the bloodstream has been linked to elevated inflammatory markers in multiple studies. Stripping the natural nutrient and substituting one that a large portion of the population cannot process is not a health benefit, it is a liability with good packaging. What comes next is worse, because it is on a specific contamination list most people have never seen. Muller's. The Environmental Working Group named it one of the brands with the highest glyphosate concentrations in dried pasta testing, alongside Barilla and Signature Select. Glyphosate disrupts the gut microbiome through the shikimate pathway, a route bacteria use, but human cells do not, which is why it was considered safe for humans for decades. It is not safe for the bacteria living inside them every pasta night, every week. The next brand adds a contamination risk that goes beyond herbicides entirely. Walmart's Great Value Pasta. Budget pasta is sourced from the lowest cost wheat available, a supply chain where storage and milling are less controlled. A 2019 Food Contamination Monitoring collaboration analysis found elevated deoxynivalenol, a mycotoxin from Fusarium mold, in lower-cost pasta versus premium tiers. At chronic low doses, it measurably increases gut permeability and suppresses gut immune function. You save 60 cents and pay for it somewhere the label does not show. The next brand is trusted in Italian-American homes and fails for a completely different reason. Prince pasta, still widely available across the Northeast. High-protein enriched pasta, which sounds like a benefit until you understand what that protein is doing without any fiber to balance it. A 2022 meta-analysis in Alimentary Pharmacology and Therapeutics found that subclinical gluten sensitivity, affecting an estimated 6 to 10% of the population, triggers a measurable inflammatory response in the gut lining that persists for up to 48 hours after a single meal. No prebiotic fiber, no resistant starch, nothing for beneficial bacteria. The last brand on this list has a specific enrichment ingredient that is actively feeding the bacteria you do not want growing. Skinner looks like every other enriched pasta on the surface. The specific problem is the iron used in enrichment. Ferrous sulfate, an inorganic form the gut absorbs poorly. The unabsorbed iron passes into the colon, where a 2017 study in Cell Host and Microbe showed it acts as a direct nutrient source for pathogenic bacteria, including E. coli and Clostridium. The enrichment the FDA mandates to restore iron is feeding the microorganisms that damage your gut lining. Before the 3 brands worth buying, here is a 30-second test for any box in your house. 3 checks. First, read the first ingredient. If it says anything with enriched, the brand has been stripped. Real pasta has 1 ingredient, semolina or durum wheat semolina. Second, look for a drying temperature. Brands that dry below 50 degrees Celsius say so because it is a selling point. Silence on the box means industrial drying. Every brand on this skip list is silent. Third, snap a piece in half. Intact grain pasta has a cream or beige interior with visible specks. Stripped pasta is bright white and clean. 30 seconds. Now you know. If this is the kind of research you want before you spend money at the grocery store, subscribe. I do 1 video a week and everyone is built at this level. And drop a comment right now telling me which pasta brand is in your pantry. I read every single one and it helps me plan the next video. Now the 3 worth buying, and the first one costs the same as Barilla. Banza chickpea pasta is available at Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, and Costco, within 50 cents of a box of Barilla. It has only 2 ingredients, chickpeas and tapioca. 1 serving contains 8 grams of fiber, which is 4 times the fiber in Barilla. That fiber includes resistant starch that reaches the colon intact, where bifidobacterium and lactobacillus ferment it into butyrate, the fatty acid that seals the gut lining. A 2022 trial in Nutrients found that switching to legume pasta increased bifidobacterium populations and lowered fasting blood glucose within 4 weeks. Banza is also CleanScan certified for low glyphosate, something no brand on the skip list can claim. Same price, different gut outcome. The second brand is Jovial 100% organic einkorn pasta. Einkorn is the oldest cultivated wheat in human history, never hybridized for industrial yield the way modern durum has been. The result is significantly higher antioxidant content and a gluten structure the University of Pavia found to be measurably more digestible for people with non-celiac gluten sensitivity. A 2019 comparative study found einkorn pasta produced roughly 30% lower blood glucose response than standard refined semolina in healthy subjects. The ingredient list is organic whole grain einkorn wheat and water. It costs around $5 to $6 per pound, but it is a fundamentally different food, not a variation of the same one. The third is the most therapeutic, Tolerant organic red lentil pasta. 1 ingredient, organic red lentils. Per serving, 11 grams of fiber, 21 grams of protein, 0 gluten. Rich in prebiotic oligosaccharides that specifically increase Akkermansia mucinifila, the bacteria that maintains the mucus layer of the intestinal wall. Low Akkermansia is now a recognized biomarker for metabolic dysfunction and inflammatory bowel conditions. Available at Whole Foods, Thrive Market, and Amazon. If your gut is already inflamed, this is where you start. Your gut microbiome shifts within 24 to 48 hours of changing what you eat. That is established in the research. The 6 brands on this list fail because they deliver refined starch, glyphosate residues, synthetic iron that feeds pathogens, and almost no fiber to a system that depends entirely on fiber. The 3 on the buy list prove the better option does not mean expensive. 2 of them cost the same as the bad ones. The only difference is that someone in the supply chain decided the process mattered. Now you get to make that same decision.